What is good, everybody? Good evening. I have a bone to pick with every single one of you. Well, maybe not every single one of you, just those of you that were... What's wrong with this camera? Just those of you that came to the stream last time. Earlier this week, we had our track feedback stream. And I got a comment immediately that was like, whoa, the psychedelic music in the intro is crazy. I'm like, what is this person talking about? And during the start screen of the stream earlier this week, there were 2 music tracks playing. And this has happened before, all of you out there, where something is going technically terribly wrong during a live stream, and you all out there, you in the chat, don't tell me. What am I supposed to do? How do I know if there's 2 tracks playing in the intro? Yes, chill and connect. Yes, you. But that did lead me to use the YouTube editor to just crop out the starting soon screen, and it worked quite well. So I wonder if I'm just going to do that for all streams going forward. That way, like, if people go to watch the stream later, which, hello, if you're watching the stream later, thanks for tuning in. It just skips that part. I guess I could just be doing that anyway. All right, that's my little rant for this evening. How are you all doing, though? I'm happy to be here on a Thursday evening. We had our little daytime stream earlier this week, and that was nice, but the evening streams are more chill, you know? I do want to say a big thank you. Well, I messed up. I want to say a big thank you to our Thursday evening sponsor, Audio Hertz. Shout out to Audio Hertz. We will be using their plugin Fan in a little bit. It's a very cool modulator plugin. There is a discount code in the description down below. They also have free trials for their plugins. So if you would like to try Audio Hertz Fan Multi-Modulator, we're going to try it a little later. We're going to record some Ableton Move stuff because we're going to talk all about the Ableton Move beta update today. But thank you to Audio Hertz for supporting the channel and sponsoring today's stream. Check out their product. Check out their product page for Fan. I will drop this link in the description. At least check out the free trial. See if you like it. I think it'll be fun. We'll use it a little later in the stream today. Audio Built-in says, I just woke up. Where's everybody tuning in from? I know it's different time zones for folks. And if it's your first stream here with us, please let us know so we can welcome you accordingly. I know some of you are regulars here in the Thursday evening stream, so thank you for that. Interesting. Walking Feather says, love Move, hate Ableton the DAW. That's kind of amazing. Crazy to me that could even be a thing. This time the music was great. Thank you, Carlos. Yes, I fixed it. The problem was I embedded the music in the other start screen, and I didn't know that, so I turned on another music, so there was like clashing music. It was crazy. Hey, look at that. We got a new membership right off the bat. Pat Fogg Project. Welcome to the Seekers. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a great way to support the channel and get a little extra content for yourself. Dig into all the members-only content and enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let me see. Where's my background tunes? Get a little ambient track going here. I think we'll make some ambient music today. But what do y'all know about the Ableton Move update and such? Are there any Ableton Move users? If you've used Ableton Move before, let me know. Or if you have one, let me know. If you're on the fence about getting one, you're thinking about getting one, let me know that too. Chillin' Connect says, I've been loving Move. It's been really fun to craft some beats either at home or on the move. Ha ha ha. Nice. Good to know. Good to know. Pat Fogg says, first stream, longtime fan. Hey, thanks so much for joining the stream. Welcome. And thanks for becoming a channel member. I really appreciate it. Tom says, I have a Move and use it regularly. I'm going to be hooking it up to a modular to see what I can do when the new update comes out. That's awesome. So we'll be able to get into that today because I've got the beta. For those of you who don't know, the Move update 1.5 is in public beta currently. Anybody can download it. It does come with the risk though. They do give you a warning, like it could brick your Move essentially, and you have to do some roundabout stuff to get it up and running again. So knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen to us tonight. But I don't know, they've been pumping out the updates monthly, so I think May is when it'll officially drop, but it is halfway through May and they just had Super Booth, so maybe towards the end of the month 1.5 will officially drop. Seems to be a longer beta process for this update, but I'm not sure. I haven't really been keeping up. Been using Push 3 standalone mostly. Nice, Bjamin. How are you liking it? Carlos says, Ableton Move user here, running the beta currently. Auto filter and MIDI connectivity is great. I agree. I'm stoked to get into that today. Fartsy says, just turned my Move off to watch this. Nice. Ronald says, I'm looking forward to the update to chop break beats and drum and bass. Nice. Yeah, we'll get into it. I think the asterisk I'll put on today's stream is that, of course, the Move beta is just that. It's a beta. So if anything goes wrong or if we have any issues, that's not what I want to be doing. I don't know what these buttons do, to be honest. What do I actually want to be doing? This button? Oh, that's not bad. But yes, it is in beta, so if we hit any snags or whatever, we'll just probably attribute it to the fact that it is in beta. And then also, like, I have read through the basics of this update. I've spent a little time with it, but I'm by no means an expert on the new features. So those of you who have been using Move, if you want to help me out and give some tips or if you have some insight, I'm happy to take it. But this is not me presenting you with expert advice this evening. This is just more of an exploration time, which is what these Thursday night streams are all about. I'm sitting on a pillow tonight because my chair is like too low, so we'll see how this goes. Do I seem taller this evening? Audio Built-in says, I have an MPC Live too, but I'm interested, and you about to sell me one, huh? Well, on that note, well, not on the note of Move, but Ableton is having a sale right now, so they are having a 25% off sale. So if you don't have standard or suite, I believe it's probably a pretty good time to upgrade because you can get about 25% off. I do have an affiliate link for Ableton. So if you do think about picking up Move or Push or Live with the discount, I will drop that affiliate link in the description. It helps the channel, no extra cost to you. But yeah, just to let you know that sale is happening. Cycling says, I have a Machine Mark III. How do you like using it? I do not click with the machine. Yeah, see, the people want to know. Ecots wants to know, too. How are you digging the Machine Mark III? All right. I've got the Move here. It's all loaded up. I figure we'll take a look at some sample slicing stuff first, probably. We'll take a look at the implementation for that. I hope, well, I'm hoping at least that you can kind of see the screen. Can you see the screen of the Move? Because the slicing is really going to have to be screen focused. I think we're gonna have to work on that. Oh, I showed this off on the other stream, but let me just show this off. All white launch key mini, cool stickers on there, looking fly. Screen is good and clear. Okay, I hope it's like big enough for y'all who are watching on phones or something. Let's dig in though. So I'm gonna go into the drum rack here on Move. How my audio levels, by the way. I also thought the previous stream was quite quiet. All right, I'm in the drum rack. let's go ahead into the sample menu and let's find, we're just gonna swap out a longer sample. Let's just find something. Go back, we don't need drums. Let's find loops. I don't even know what kind of loops I have on here, to be honest. We could do a rhythmic loop, or we could do something melodic. Let me see what we have. The stream is too quiet. The Move is too quiet. Actually, are you not even hearing the Move? I feel like, oh, you guys are probably not even hearing the Move. It's not just quiet, there's no sound. Here, I got you. Thank you. I was shooting a video right before this, and I have to, I have to switch the audio situation. I forgot. There's always one thing that I forgot. It's coming in. Here we go. That all that finger drumming before probably made no sense, and I was even like playing some notes and stuff too. Hey, you guys, actually, that was a test. That was a test. Thank you all. You passed. Thank you for letting me know. All right, we got the sound on now. All right, good to go. Let me make sure this is all squared away here. That was almost tragic. All right, cool. Good thing I mentioned it. JDK, thank you for joining. Nice to see you here. If anybody else, I'm seeing some new names tonight, which I like. I think that's cool. Some new and returning folks here in the chat. By the way, I'm going to zoom out real quick. We've got the Launchpad Pro here. We'll utilize the sequencer on this with Move, with the new MIDI implementation. We'll also go the other way, send MIDI out to the OP1 field this evening. I mean, I could try doing like MIDI in with the launch key. It's nothing really special other than the fact that you can change channels on the launch key now and record different instruments. So that's the main thing. All right, back to zooming in. Zoom, zoom. Nice and close. I want you all to be nice and close to the Move so that you can see the screen. All right. So this is not the sample that I wanted. So let's swap that out again. Loops. I don't want percussion loops. Textures, vocals maybe. This is like noisy stuff. I was hoping for some piano or something. Here, what do we have for vocals? These are more like one shots. Just trying to find some good chopping material. Not that. All right, let's grab that sample. So now here in this little menu, if I hold Shift, I hope you can see this, but on that little sound file, there's a 1 and a 2. If I turn the wheel, I can access the filter on like page 2, I guess you could say. But page 1 here is going to contain the word slice, which I'm hoping they add more to this menu. They've added like another sub menu here, but the only item in it is slice. So when I go into slice mode, it automatically slices the sample for me. And then these three encoders here affect different things. I can affect the sort of like starting point of the slices, and then I can affect the ending point of the slices, so make them like tighter. Currently there's only 4 slices. If I turn the big wheel, I can change the number of slices. So obviously if you know you have, say, a 4-bar loop, you chop it in 4s, you're going to have 1 bar per chop, etc. So when I turn the main encoder, it adds chops, and you can see that the pads are filling up the more chops I add. And then 16 levels also works here, which I think is cool. But let me dial it back down so that we have less slices. So here, I can change these individual slice start points. So if I select a slice using the third encoder, I can change where that slice starts. If I select another slice, same thing. And you just get a little line indication there. And then, so let's just crank that up. Let's just do 16 slices. And then it just says slices created. And what actually happens here is that replaces your whole drum rack. So I thought that that was interesting. I wasn't really sure how it was going to be implemented. But I thought that maybe the slices would get added to a drum rack. It doesn't seem to work like that. Folks can correct me if I'm wrong, though. So that's the basics of slices. We can slice up a drum loop next. But what do we think so far? Based Echo says, do you feel limited with the number of tracks? I think that's the big question. I think that's like top of everybody's mind when they talk about Move, but I got to tell you, I don't. I think you have purpose-built tools. You know, we don't look at a hammer and say, oh, like, do you wish that it could drill into the wall? It'd be like, no, I have a drill for that, you know? It's just a different tool for a different thing. But also, it is very capable. Four tracks is not as limiting as people make it out to be. Hiram, thank you for tuning in from Buenos Aires. Thank you. King, nice to see you. Hey, TAETRO, thank you for the feedback on the stream earlier this week. I had a lot of fun and received exactly the feedback I needed. That is great to hear. Nice. What's up, Alexander J says, thanks for what you're doing. I bought my launch key after watching your overview on the Mini. Nice. Awesome. And then Fartsy chimes in talking about the 4-track limit. Says, I don't feel limited because I usually, by the time I want more tracks, it's probably time to bring it into live. Yeah, that's the point. That's the magic of Move as a standalone device, is it truly delivers on that sketchpad sort of role, I guess. All right, let's swap that sample. Let's do that with drums. I think maybe drums will be more clear for folks to understand what's actually happening. So that's like an already chopped break. Do we need to re-chop the break? Here, that's good. Okay, so I've just got this drum loop now. I'm gonna hold Shift, select slice mode. We have 4 slices. And we can instantly slice it. Again, turn the big encoder to slice to add more slices. And it's that easy. I mean, it's very simple, very easy implementation. I don't think there's any type of crossfading or anything. I think what you would have to do is, let's see, let me actually, what you would do is slice the samples, create the slices, and then you would go and select the individual slices just like it was a normal drum rack. You have an attack parameter on each individual slice. You have attack, hold, and decay. So that's where you're kind of like fading and cleaning up the chops would come in. So right there, that was really fast and easy to chop up the drum sample that way. What do we think of slicing in this way? People had already been doing like a lazy chop on Move. Essentially use a resampling method to do that. It's a little bit of a workaround, but it actually works quite well, I think. This is just a more standard slicing implementation, and I think they did it just right. Farsi says, so far I'm really digging the slicing method, but I kind of wish it didn't take up the entire drum rack, but also not sure what else you'd do to make it work. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it would be cool if you could, I yeah, I guess I don't know how you would implement it. Like if a sample, say the sample in the drum rack was here that I wanted to slice, I would say, oh, I'm only going to slice it 8 times, and it would just fill up every subsequent slice and not affect those slices. That would be something to think about for implementation. But I guess if you're going to be slicing a sample, they figure you're going to do it on a dedicated track anyway. B Jammin says, use the Move with Koala on your iPhone or iPad. Koala can export to Live or Ableton Drum Rack too. That is true. I think you can load sounds on the empty slots after slicing. Yes, that's correct. So if you get the slices, then you can just replace any of these samples just like you normally would in Drum Rack. That's true. So you could work in the reverse. I was thinking more from the perspective of like, oh, I already have a drum rack and I have a, some kind of sample that I want to slice in it. That workflow doesn't make sense. So you have to start with what you're gonna slice and then build from there. Instant breaks, instant chops, really pretty simple there, right? Any other questions on slicing before we move on? We can move on and talk about like auto filter next, which is another one that's fairly simple to talk about. Let's find something that's I love that sound. All right, let me swap out. I guess we could swap out the reverb for now. We'll survive without it. So audio effects, auto filter is a thing that's been in Live for a very long time. It's more than just a filter. It's a filter that has movement to it. But they've added it here on Move, and they've added the sort of like new presets that have essentially been added. Or the new way of working with auto filter, which got revamped in the latest Live update. So, for instance, they added the DJ mode, which gives you a single knob for low pass filter when you turn to the left, and then high pass filter when you turn to the right. I'll just go to the default settings for now. That was the DJ mode. And let's go ahead and add the movement. And this also has a dry wet value, so you can have just a bit of movement. Now the frequency here is in hertz. I'm not sure. Let me take a look at the release notes. I'm not sure if there is a way to change the rate to be along with the clock. I'm just quickly control Fing the auto filter. I don't see anything about that. So unless there's some type of shift functionality in there. Oh, there you go. There's a preset called LFO Beat Sync. So what happens here? Yeah, there we go. So there's a full preset for that. So it's interesting that that's in as a preset instead of being like a way to change this parameter, but I guess that's just how they had to implement it. And then you have the different filter types there too. So that's very cool that they were able to add it there. Daniel says, I still want simpler. Do you think it's powerful enough to support? I'm not sure what you mean. Basically, all of the sample instruments are simpler instruments in on Move. They might even be samplers, actually. What features are you looking for? Because I'm pretty sure that's actually what is built into this. Oh, I need to go back to the filter settings. It's so funny. Ooh, I still have to learn the chord modes on this. Have been mostly self-exploring. Yeah, if you go into fourths mode, I have actually been working on, I started filming this week, but beginner's guide to Ableton Move, making music with Ableton Move for beginners. I think what I'll do is I'll do like a kind of a quick short version on YouTube, and then I'm gonna do a full course, because what I've already shot is not even like complete in my mind, and it's probably already 40-ish minutes of content, so I can't be like publishing like multi-hour. I just don't think it makes sense to publish like full courses on YouTube anymore, you know? But anyway, my point there was, if you're in fourths mode, playing chords is just as easy as making this triangle shape. You have root, third, fifth. And then if you skip a note from your fifth, you got the seventh. And if you put that shape anywhere, starting on any note, you have a triad. Seems like people are really craving time stretching, warping and time stretching. Yeah, I agree. That would be great. I guess that is what's missing. Yeah, and you're right, Carlos, that the drum slots are drum sampler, and then the instruments are like a stripped down version of simpler. Yeah, I guess that's the main thing that we're missing is warping. I'm not sure though. That seems to be like that seems to be the most processor intensive kind of thing that they need to implement, right? Like, what's more processor intensive than warping samples, you know? Chill and Connect, you're trying to find the how to set up your keys. Yeah, just shift musical note button. It says in key, the root note of your key, what scale, major, and then the last one should say, it could either say octaves or fourths. So you want to be in key fourths mode. Great. What did where was I going after that? We got the auto filter though. That sounds good. Did I skip over something? You know that nagging feeling when you feel like you've forgotten something? Isn't that the worst? Hell Nomad, good morning to you over there in Thailand. Thank you for tuning in from the future. Thank you for being a member for 43 months. 43 months! $32 slice points would be better. I mean, I hear you, Daniel, but at the end of the day, like, we got 16 slices, and I'm not like making excuses for Ableton or anything, but it's like, this is a little standalone device that can do these things. Not that there are not other standalone devices that can do like more slicing and stuff, but I've just never been in the business of looking at new features that come out and being like, oh, well, it could have been better. You know what I mean? Unless something has gone really wrong with the design. I think what they've shown so far is the commitment to supporting Move and adding capabilities that were not there at launch. And I'm appreciative for that. I don't want to like sit here and be like, oh, they could do this and they could do that. They could do a lot of things. I have a whole video about fixing Ableton Move, but it's like, they gave us 16. I'm not going to sit here and say they should give us 32. It's kind of a nitpick at that point. All right. We've done slicing. We've done auto filter, which is a lot of fun. Good to know that you can both sync with time and with the beat. But perhaps we should check out some MIDI implementation stuff now. I'm going to zoom. Well, actually, before I zoom out too much, I want to show you on the screen the MIDI implementation. So now, if you hold Shift and press any track, you're going to get a little bit of a MIDI menu here. It'll say MIDI out, MIDI in, and MIDI channel associated. And then you can also change the color of the track here. But you can choose MIDI out, what channel it's going to send MIDI out on. I have mine turned off at the moment. And then you have MIDI in, and you can set which channel it receives MIDI in on. The amazing part of this is that this is like per track. So each track can either be sending MIDI in or what it can do both actually. It can be sending MIDI out and be receiving MIDI. But each individual track can have its own channel. So this is very good for a couple of different use cases. So now let's zoom out a little bit. And let's take a look. So I could have done this with any synth. Essentially what I'm trying to show is kind of like, okay, how would you use MIDI out with Move? Which in my mind, using MIDI out is not the best. It is not the way that I would most likely use the MIDI implementation. I would be most likely trying to use it with MIDI in and get a more sort of robust sequencer situation happening for Ableton Move's great sound. So the MIDI input to Move is more intriguing to me than the MIDI output from Move. But I will talk about two very intriguing use cases now. So the first one is, like, let's say you have a synth that doesn't have a sequencer or doesn't have a very doesn't have a traditional sequencer, whatever. I think that's a very good use case for Move to become the sequencer and also the controller of. So basically here on the OP1 field, OP1 field is great. It's got its own keyboard. Oh, you know what? I'm sending MIDI. That's me controlling Move with the OP1 field now. Okay. That's not what I'm intending to do. So let's do this a different way. Let's send MIDI out from this track. So MIDI on, MIDI in off, MIDI out to channel 1. And then I've got to change the audio on my computer so that you can hear the OP1 field. So unfortunately the OP1 field, it can't receive like multiple MIDI inputs, which would be great. I gotta turn the sound for, there we go. So the OP1 field has some great sounds. The reason I pair these two together is because the way recording or like sequencing, you can't really call it sequencing, on the OP1 field mostly works is via like a tape situation. So you're essentially recording and committing audio every single time you want to record on the OP1 field. It has sequencers, but they're not traditional sequencers like on the Ableton Move. So now I'm controlling, you're hearing the sound of the OP1 field. And the OP1 field actually, I'm not sure what sounds I have on this. Let's go through this for a second. I love some of the samples I have on here. I find it a lot easier to create sample instruments on the OP1 field than the Move. I mean, the screen on the OP1 field is a huge advantage. But you can see I can just switch through. I can just switch through the instruments and I get control over all the sounds. And like I said earlier, actually, yeah, this is fine. Let me turn my metronome on so I have a little sense of time. And let's go ahead and... Oh, I'm not hearing the move. I can hear both of them at the same time. I can get a little... Let's do this, and let's filter down that kick. So I can hear both the sound from the move. So you're gonna hear OP1 and move, but I'm gonna mute the move track so we just hear OP1, the synth we're controlling. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We got a little fly in here. So that's a huge advantage. If you have a synth that doesn't have a traditional sequencer or a sequencer at all, using MIDI out to sequence those synths is cool. And then you can either blend the sound or choose not to blend the sound. I could like blend this with the actual sound from the move, but if you mute a track on move, it doesn't mute the MIDI out, which I thought was really good. I was worried that that was going to be how it works. I'm not a sample guy, but interested in move these days. Yeah, I don't think you have to be a sampling kind of person. Oh, wait, I just saw who this was in chat. One of the, y'all, we have a celebrity in chat. Did y'all know that? I'm going to show you all something that I think is fantastic. EPOW in chat is a fantastic user of the Electron model cycles and makes really great music that I think you all should check out. Highly underrated artist, but just listen to these tunes. If you put these tunes on, when you're studying, when you gotta concentrate. Here, let's go another one. It's just perfect, perfect sound. I'm gonna share the link in the chat. Go give a follow. Really good tunes, right? Go give a follow. Anyway, yes. So you say, I'm not a sample guy, but interested in Move these days. I think one of the biggest strengths of Move is, for sure, its synths. I think as a sampler, it's very run-of-the-mill. I think the ability, the sound that it's able to have in a very small, compact device is very pleasing to me. There are some groove boxes, I talked about this in my groove box video, where there are some groove boxes where I just don't like the sound. Like, I don't really love the sound of circuit tracks. I've been thinking about revisiting it just to challenge myself on that, but you know. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sample this into the DAW really quick. And then I want to show you some connectivity situation with Move and Ableton Live. This little fly. It's that season. It's that summer season. All right. I've got that recorded into the DAW. Let's switch gears here for just a moment. I want to show you all something cool. I'm going to adjust the camera for a moment. We're going to stop using the OP1 field for now. And when this fly wants to die. And it doesn't, I don't know if it wants to die or go into my nose or what. This little USB device, the Witty Bluetooth MIDI connector, I'm going to use this Bluetooth MIDI connector on the Ableton Move. I would say if I'm going to use Move as a controller, I'm not even going to put it into controller mode. I'm just going to leave it in this mode. And I'll show you why. And I'll show you how actually this update makes it even cooler. All right, get live open. Boom. I've got that recorded. We'll take care of that later. Here's what I'm going to do in Ableton Live. I'm going to make 4 MIDI tracks. And if you have like a big home studio and you're routing synths or something like that, or even if you have a few synths, you could do this. Let me grab a couple synth presets here in Live. Little piano. Little basic mallet situation. I like that casino blips sound. All right, we got those 4 sounds. So now with the MIDI implementation, I can have all these different sounds going out on the same channel. So this is going out on channel 1. So in Ableton Live, I can play Move, and it's going out on channel 1. And I can control that track. I've already recorded something there. Now I can go to the next track and I can send out on channel, okay, that's going MIDI channel 3. So now in Live, I can set that to receive from channel 3. Hold on, are we receiving? Oh, I was doing MIDI in, my bad. I gotta do MIDI out to channel 3. And I'm gonna turn the sound off for Move for now. So we're not hearing Move, we're just hearing Live. There we go, we're hearing that next track. Sorry, I lost you, chat. Where did you go? So essentially now you could use Ableton Live to route 4 different tracks of MIDI, up to 4, from Move. Go here. So now as I switch instruments, in the DAW, we're controlling different tracks. If you tuned in last week for the, here, MIDI out, channel 4. If you tuned in last week when we were working with the tempo pad, you could essentially build that kind of performance now. So now I'm recording that track in Live. Another track. And another track. I think that's pretty good. So that's pretty cool MIDI implementation because I'm just wireless. Wireless MIDI. Just going through different tracks. I don't need any volume from Move. Now Move is a Bluetooth MIDI controller with full MIDI capability. So if you think about it, if you've got like 4 synths in your studio and they're routed to Ableton Live, you got this as a controller. You could be just sitting at your desk with your synths scattered around, route the MIDI, pick up your Move, and just be like playing on those synths. I think that's a pretty cool, even though I said I like the MIDI in is more intriguing to me, that's a good use of MIDI out. Carlos, you said, what's the name of that little USB dongle? It is called Witty by CME. Bluetooth dongle by CME. Curious where you got these synth sounds. They're by Sound Ghost. Look up Sound Ghost. They make lots of presets and stuff. Dancing in a Dream says, wow, it's like magic. I agree. I fully agree. Okay, let me do something real quick. Let me cook up a little sample for y'all. So we got those vocals from... OP1. I'm going to pull out our handy dandy fan. Thank you to AudioHertz for sponsoring tonight's stream. There's a free trial for this plugin at the link in the description and a discount code if you want to buy it. I'm going to add this before the other effects. And also, let's take this sample and let's actually slow it way down. Let's unwarp it. No, let's warp it. Yep, keep the timing. Go to repitch mode. Who thinks they can flip this sample? Alright, little subtle modulation here from fan, but then I'm going to duplicate fan again. Let's do something a little more extreme. I think we could go back to like a bit of a higher pitch though. Kind of not like in the low pitch anymore. How do we like that sound? Let's add one more little reverb on top. Let's do a shimmer reverb. Do we add one more fan? Little vibrato action. I think the fan blew the fly away, to be honest. And I am in the beta, live beta. So let's bounce that to a new track. Now we have that sample. Fan. The vocal fan. And I will drop this in a file mail link and you can all download and flip this sample if you want. All right, I'm going to drop this at an expiring file mail link. If you want to download it, hang on. I'm going to put it in the chat really quick. A little something for the live viewers. If you want to support the stream, you can go show some love to our sponsor, AudioHertz, who has got that cool fan plugin. And at least give a try to the free trial. Or grab a discount. All right, where's my actual chat window? Boom. There's your link. Go download the sound. Somebody let me know if that link actually works. I hope that it does. The vocal fan. and I hope you get that little sample. Hope you enjoy it. Hale says, I use the Move as a controller more than anything. I like having a mini push on the go. I love how the top left rotary knob controls whichever synth parameter I'm using. That's cool. That's good to hear, because I don't really use it that way, but maybe I should start. The macro controls is pretty well implemented. I guess I was looking for more customizability with controller mode and stuff, but alas. Hello, Gaspar. Have you ever tried the S2400 from Isla? I have, and I love it. I don't know what this is, to be honest. Let's search it up now. The S2400. I'm just can't stop burping. What am I looking at here? A nearly $2,000 synth. As I have the as I sit here with the OP1 Field in front of me. Oh, it's like a vintage synth. What is it? It's a drum machine? Yeah, sampler and drum machine inspired EMU. Here, let's see if we can find a video of it. Since you said you love it, what's cool about it? Let us know. Anybody with a performance? It's all just people holding up the gear. All just people holding the gear. Can I see a performance? Surely somebody's performing with it. Maybe not. This is just a walkthrough. Oh, there's some sound. This looks like some relic ancient technology. Okay, pretty cool. That screen is nice for, I don't know when this machine came out, but it's looking cool. Oh, seems pretty cool. I don't really want to go back to like old samplers and stuff though. It's just like, it seems like it'd be a struggle, but they do have the great sound. Ronald says, I plan to hook up my Launchpad Pro to sequence the Move so I can use probabilities on the drum rack and one finger chords on the chord track. Ronald, you're speaking my language. You are totally speaking my language, because what we're about to do is exactly what you just said. Get in focus here. Ben, loving the live stream. Thank you so much. Happy to have you tuning in, my friend. Where are you tuning in from? Still rocking the push 2. Still rocking the push 2, but the push 3. Still rocking the push 2, but the push 3. I say it all the time. Here we go. All right. This, exactly how Ronald said it, is, in my mind, the ideal way to take advantage of the MIDI. Because while I do love Move, I love it as a little Sketchpad groove box. I love the synth sounds. I like writing short ideas on it, of course. Love all those things. However, what I do not love is, well, not what I don't love. What I'll say is the sequencer is quite basic. It's limited in how many bars. You can only do 16 bars. It doesn't have any fancy features that we love. You know, we love probability. We love things like that. So with the MIDI implementation now, you can use it with controllers that have more robust sequencing. Accent Noir says, does the APC64 have probability on its sequencer? Yes, it does. We used it during the drone synth stream, right? Oh, Ben, you're thinking about push 3? What's there's some push 3 users in the chat, so if you have questions or pros and cons you want to know about, it's definitely a good place to ask those questions. All right, let's get the audio hooked up. Move this over here, move that over there. Get my input going. Do we have sound? Nope. Do we have sound? Oh, because I muted all these tracks because we were using them for MIDI. And yet, and I know what I did. I must have turned down the volume. There we go. Okay. So now, back to it. We have got to change things here. We're going to not do any MIDI out from Move. We're going to reverse the situation that we were just in. Okay. All right, great. We've still got that chopped sample, so I'm going to go ahead and switch this kit. So now, the advantage here, that's not how that works. Oh, and we want to do MIDI sync as well. Actually, we don't need to do MIDI sync because we're just going to use this sequencer. Get a little probability on those hats. Oh no, I think I added probability to everything, including the kicks, which is not what we want. Okay, regardless, we'll come back to that. Let's see, what MIDI channel should we be getting from here? There we go, we need MIDI in. Wait, that was PlayStation, whatever I just did. I'll never be able to do it again. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to just clear some of these patterns, or just switch to some empty patterns. There we go. All right, empty patterns. Let's get like a little bit of a drone going here on the sequencer. I know what we can do. Patterns. Ronald, are you an expert in the Launchpad Pro? Because I'll probably have questions for you, because I basically only pull it out every time I have a idea or I want to do something complex mixer-wise. But I think if I hold Shift like that, no, that's not it. I basically want to make this sequence shorter. Get a little techno situation going. So remember, these are all sounds coming from the Move. Don't be confused. All right, then here, let's see. Let's get a different sound going here. Something more keys. So another cool thing that the Launchpad Pro has, aside from probability, is mutation. And what it is, it's a mutation chance. So if I add a low mutation chance to each one of these notes, there's a chance they'll play a different note. So now the melody is just going to be different, or there's a chance that the melody will be different every time. Again, we're sequencing the move here. Did I answer this? How do I pronounce my name? TAETRO. TAETRO. Oh, there's my sequencer set on my pattern settings. I get it now. So this is great. We could not do this prior to this update. Let's pick a different sound for this instrument. But now we've got this sequence going. I'm using mutation, I'm using probability, something we don't have on Move, but we have the amazing sounds of the Move. That's basically at the heart of this for me. I always mess up this menu situation here. Do the same mutation thing here for each one of these notes. There's a slight chance that they'll play a different note. And then there's different things like the pattern playback mode, where now in this sequence it'll play all different spots instead of linearly. but this is something I've been really waiting for Move. Oh gosh. I forgot I was in pattern settings mode. And then all the effects are here. Very easy to get lost in the sauce. Zen English says, I need to experiment with this setup. I have both, but I haven't explored using them together yet. I think it's going to be a power combo. I was really hoping to use my Poly and Play, but there's something about how the MIDI implementation works on the Poly and Play that's not working with the Move, and I can't figure out why, because Poly and Play sequences everything else perfectly, but for some reason I cannot get it to work with Ableton Move. I don't know if anybody has any insight to that. Ronald said this update is a big one if you haven't run into any bugs during this stream, which is good. Yes, that's true. Knock on wood. Why'd you have to say it, Ronald? Do you know what's gonna happen now? But I could just sit here and let this run, and it's like doing unique stuff throughout the whole time. And then I have on Move, I'm free, I could improvise notes on top. Or I could play with the effects. You know what? Let's shift over here a little bit. I forgot that Move is not, I didn't assign it to the same, oh, I almost killed the fly. I didn't assign Move to the same key as the Launchpad. So when I'm playing notes, I gotta stay here. Still didn't get it. Ben, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. Carlos says, this shows how bad we need note probability for the Move sequencer. It'd be so nice to have. I agree. If they're going to have a limitation of 16 bars, add in a little probability, add in a little mutation. It's like Ableton seemed to kind of focus on that for a little while with MIDI editing and stuff in live, so I hope that would be a priority for something like Move. If anything, it's a way, I would think MIDI probability is a pretty low demand in terms of CPU or processing, but I don't know that for sure, obviously. They implemented it for Live 12, so it makes sense to bring it up to the Move as well. Fingers crossed, I hope. These are some good updates this time around, so... Can I just jam to this all night? Mute the drums. Crank up that width on the fan. But you know what we're gonna need next? We're gonna need multi-track USB audio out. That's what everybody's gonna demand after this, because since I'm using this, since I'm sequencing 4 tracks on the Move, if I want to record this performance, I would essentially want to record out some audio and probably do it multi-track. Has anybody tried the fan plugin? I would like to know what you think of it. If you did the trial or if you haven't tried it yet. Dancing in a Dream, you digging it? I'm literally just sitting here vibing. Run this through some pedals or some more effects. We're good to go. I like all these drip feed updates, keeps it interesting. I agree. I think it's not a bad product rollout strategy. From my perspective, I don't believe that. I think when a product drops, we should judge it as it is when it drops. And if you buy it when it drops, you should expect 0 updates. Like the item that you're buying, imagine that it's going to have 0 updates. If it's worth it to you at the price, without any updates, go for it. If it's not, just wait. Don't wait on a brand's promise to do updates or whatever. Watch what they do later. And I think Ableton has demonstrated that they are committed to doing lots of updates for Move. I bet, I mean, maybe this is obvious because of the pricing, but I bet more people have Move than have Push 3. You think I'm crazy? Does anybody else agree with that? Got all that warbly coming from Fan, by the way. We should absolutely be using an auto filter. Oh, we are using an auto filter here. This fly. We could, I think I didn't set the MIDI sync actually, but now in the menu there's MIDI sync on and off. So I'm going to set MIDI sync to in. So now we should be time synced so that anything I do, let's go ahead and mute everything but this pad, which I'm not hearing this pad anymore. What did I do? Oh, I am hearing this pad. Let's figure it out. Oh, my rate is just too fast. Let's get that auto filter moving. Oh, that drive on there. Low pass. That's so funny. Yeah, so we're getting transport from the Launchpad. Carlos is right. The fly is still around because I need to turn on the fan. I think just a subtle amount of this kind of chorus on there is sounding pretty good. This is without. It just sounds super clean, right? Then turn on fan. It instantly gets wider. Wider and wobblier. Okay, what was I doing over here? Oh, I was gonna adjust the tempo probably. But I forgot how to do that here on the Launchpad. Okay, everybody quiet down for a moment. Is there not a tempo button or am I going blind? These late night streams. Pattern settings. Shift pattern settings? No. Pattern. Where's Ronald? Ronald! Shift setup. Of course. Why wouldn't it be shift setup? Let's LED control. I know it's something simple. I'm just missing it. Projects, patterns, steps. Oh, it's got to be down at the bottom here. Tempo, found it. Don't worry, it's in tiny text. Yeah, nice. Okay. Morph filter. I mean, this is a tiny device. This tiny little box is making this dirty little noise. I mean, with fan though. Y'all. Auto filter, slicing, MIDI implementation, all of the above. All coming to Ableton Move, and I think it's looking pretty stable. It's sounding pretty good. Knock on wood, I'm really stoked on this update. It seems like some folks in the chat are excited for it as well. We're going to call it an evening here, but I'm not sure when they're going to drop the official update. Hopefully it will be soon. I think it just came to public beta this week. So if they put it in a public beta this week, I'm not sure how long if they're doing like a feedback round or if they're looking for final bugs or something, but I don't know. Hopefully by the end of the month, this will be an official update. I don't know if there's any other gear you'd like to see paired with Move or other gear you'd like to see on the channel in general, but would love to hear from y'all. The fly goes away every time I turn on the fan. That's all I'm saying. That's reality. But we're going to wrap it up here this evening. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me on another Thursday evening stream. We'll be back again next week. We're going to be working with more hardware next week, I think, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be fun. Thank you again to Audio Hertz for sponsoring today's stream. If you want to pick up a cool, fun modulation plugin, it was pretty much on that whole time. A little bit of chorus, a little bit of width on that whole time, you know? So check that out. Thank you. They make the stream happen, you know? So they've got a free trial and they've got a discount code in the description down below. Also, don't forget Ableton is having their 25% off sale. If you use my affiliate link for that, and if you're looking to upgrade to standard or suite, that can support the channel at no extra cost to you. You'll be getting a sale. That's going to be all, everybody. Carlos, thanks. I'm glad you had fun. Anybody who tuned in for the first time this evening, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you were inspired to go make some music yourself. If you're watching this much later, leave a comment on the video and let me know, because that's always good to know as well. But for now, that's going to be it. Hope you enjoy the little ambient vibes in the outro. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.